Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited to introduce you to Suzanne Bates. Suzanne is one of the speakers that was at the last conference that we just did. And I had a lot of people request this topic. We decided to go ahead and make it live online here. So I'm going to go ahead and begin with reading a little bit about her so that you have her bio and information. And then she'll go ahead and join us after that. Suzanne Bates is a traditional naturopath. She's also an iridologist and a master herbalist. And she's the mother of 4 children. A former ICU nurse, Suzanne's deep understanding of both modern medicine and natural healing gives her the ability to provide her clients with the most comprehensive health solutions possible. After overcoming type 2 diabetes herself, in addition with heart challenges and severe anxiety, she turned to nature and the power of light to restore her health. Now known as a cortisol and light expert, she helps others rebalance their nervous system and awaken the body's innate intelligence through sunlight, herbs, and holistic living, bringing science and spirit together. And for those of you who have been following our channel and you've been wanting to learn more about this topic, the reason also one of the things that like really appealed to me to have her speak about this is because I myself, I'm a 46-year-old woman. Sorry, guys, I live in the country. There's some blacks in here. I'm a 46-year-old woman, and I actually have had 8 babies. So Utah. And I feel like this is a topic that I get requested from all the time. Like, hey, what do you do when you have really high amounts of stress? What do you do when you have increased situations with your health, chronic things? Who do you know that we can go to specifically for women's issues around stress? And I'm like, oh, this is perfect because she really does have an understanding of both sides of that concept. And you guys, that's kind of how my whole situation, when I got started with health, is my grandma was a nurse for 40 years. And as a nurse for 40 years, she chose to do holistic practices for her own health and her family's health when she retired, and also, apprenticed with reflexology afterwards and chose to go with more herbs and natural things like this. So, Suzanne, I can see you're behind the screen here. If you want to go ahead and just add your presentation to the docket here, then I'll go ahead and get you in. That'll be awesome. And for those of you who also are looking for real life practical tips on what you can do right now, she's gone over some of the things with me that she plans to share with you today. And I really believe that this is going to be worth your time. So have something ready where you can either take notes, could be a notebook or a notepad ready to go, or maybe something on your phone, and listen in closely to the things that really resonate with you. Because some things are not for everyone, right? But there's some things that, man, it's really meant for you right now. So we're going to go ahead and bring her on. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm great. It's great to see you. Thanks for your patience. We're just
Of course, no worries.
ready from my end, and
Yeah,
excited to be here with you. I'm really
yeah.
excited. This is a great subject. This is a great subject. So
Absolutely.
we're gonna see if you can see my stuff.
Yeah,
Not quite yet. Okay.
once you add it to the thing that says present or screen share, then I just have to go ahead. It takes like 10 minutes, and then I can go ahead and approve it. So yeah, and then we'll be all set to go.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, getting there. Thanks for your patience again. I think this is going to be worth your time. And I have a lot of really interesting information for people.
Yeah.
I think you told a little bit about me, but I could tell a little bit more about me.
We're waiting for that. Go ahead. That sounds
I'll just say really quickly, this is something that so many people need. And I was extremely sick for years without understanding what the cause was. And I feel like I've cracked the code, actually, Tammy, because I was so sick that I had heart failure, and I had total dysfunction with my thyroid, and I had dysfunction with my kidneys. I had kidney numbers that were going down, and so it was like my kidneys, my thyroid, my heart. I feel like I don't want to say I had everything, but I just about had everything. And I was on oxygen most of the time because my lungs the type of heart failure I had was right-sided heart failure. It's called pulmonary hypertension. Anyway, and I had just fluid in my lungs all the time. So it was very difficult to sleep. It was very difficult to move around. And I had just no quality of life. And so I, as a nurse, had gone everywhere to try to figure out how to get better. And nothing was really happening for me. And so I had a really kind of a God moment where I was able to find natural help. I'd been medicine minded for the whole time. It was just go to cardiologist after cardiologist after cardiologist, and it didn't work. And I was in the medical mindset because I was a nurse. So I thought that's really what there was. When I found natural help, I would just say it opened up a totally new world for me. And so as a result, I ended up having a lot of incredible experiences where I began to get well, and I was on 9 heart medications to get through the day. And so it became just totally overwhelming. And I felt like I was dying, and I could feel the life leaving my body. And so I had moments where my kids would come in, and before they'd leave, they'd say, don't die, Mom. Don't die. And before going to school, and I had all my neighbors had actually been incredible. They were taking my kids to school for me because I was so sick. Anyway,
it looks like the presentation that we're getting out of here. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it looks like the presentation is almost there. But what you have under the share screen is it's showing the other one. You know what I mean? Bonnie says she has had AFib for 4 months straight now, and she knows her kids have been worried about her. So it seems like there's a few people on that have had some similar situations, and even people have been asking if this is going to be recorded. And this will still remain on our YouTube channel, but Facebook does delete the Facebook Lives after 30 days. So it will be on our YouTube channel. If you go to Energy Healing Conference, just do a search for us there and you'll be able to find it. There is some background noise. I'm not sure if you are familiar with what that noise is. Maybe somebody can just, it almost looks like an engine or something, or a juicer. I don't know what that is.
Oh, really?
It's quite loud. Maybe it's the motor to your computer. I don't know what's going on there. Are you guys
quiet here? But let me look and see.
It's gone now, Bonnie said. I know. Did you guys hear it too? It wasn't just me.
I'm so sorry. Do you know what? It feels like something doesn't want me to do this presentation today. I've had different things, but it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. I think while we're waiting for this slideshow thing to be figured out, because we're having some difficulty, I want to just give people information who are here with a notebook. And
let's go for it. We've got a bunch of people on live now, dozens of people.
So what I would say is, to understand cortisol, you need to understand that it's not all bad. So that means that we need it. We need it to get going in the morning. And actually, I would say, it's there to mobilize the fuel, the fatty acids, and it's there to mobilize it does a lot. It's there to mobilize glucose. So the reason that so many people I see have diabetes or pre-diabetes, they'll go, I don't know what's going on, is because the liver lets out a large amount of glucose every single time that cortisol goes too high. Cortisol's there to make sure that we have that energy. So it's going to pour glucose into the bloodstream. And that's great. If we talk first about the morning, because we really have to set cortisol, we need to start with the morning. Cortisol and light are directly related. And so when we go outside, it stimulates cortisol, but not in a bad way. And actually, it will give us energy. If, like, the first 90 minutes after we're awake, we go outside and then we hydrate. And going outside for 15 to 30 minutes with no sunglasses, no sunscreen, and this is through the winter. I do this through the winter. I had seasonal affective disorder for years. I would eat everyone's pie, be down, be just kind of, it was just very, very difficult. And so what happened was I had a moment where I realized, okay, going outside, this is a big deal. And it is a very big deal. So even if it's snowy, cloudy, raining, we still have infrared light that comes through, and it's invisible. So we will never see it ever. So if you say there's no sun outside, just to say, it's, I think, amazing to realize I've got my friend here helping me. Anyway, I have a huge amount of appreciation for people who say, I have a hard time in the winter. Go outside 365 days a year. Even if you're on, if you're on your patio and it's raining and snowing and all of that, take an umbrella if you need to, but be out there. I have a Facebook page called Get Up, Get Out, Get Happy. I would love to have people join. We're really going to be posting a lot to help support people to get outside during those winter months, and take in the invisible light. We have specialized cells that are meant to help set cortisol rhythms for us. So when we go outside, we have light there, and it will it does many, many things, but it detoxifies the cells. It stimulates melatonin production in the cell. So not the kind that makes us sleepy, but the kind that actually detoxifies the body. And having, we have hydration as a huge part of that. If you wake up and you don't drink water, you're going to have a harder day. And cortisol, your rhythm will be totally, totally off. And so having water, really drinking, but actually putting in minerals with that, with things like Celtic salt and Redmond salt or Himalayan salt, those types of things. Putting just a dab on your tongue as you drink water. I drink 24 ounces of water within the first 90 minutes at least when I'm awake. Sometimes it's 32 ounces. So I have a huge number of people that will come and say, how do I have more energy? I'm exhausted all the time. I have stress all the time. I don't sleep. I don't do, I'm not functioning well. And my first answer is go outside. Because if you're having issues with cortisol, you need light, and it's invisible, as I said, so you really won't see it. The other thing to note is that even gentle exercise is huge, because gentle exercise is going to move out the energy that's been stuck, and it's going to really help boost cortisol, and we need that. A funny side note, eating black licorice in the morning will boost cortisol. Kind of just a random, a random fact. Grapefruit will also boost cortisol. And so light, grapefruit, black licorice, exercise, hydration, these are big things. It also is great if you're into cold therapy, if you're well enough that you can take a shower and turn on the cold water for 30 seconds, and then you really stimulate some of that brown fat. It will also boost cortisol. But let's go to, if your cortisol is just really too high, what happens is it will take your thyroid and just destroy it. It will destroy all of the signaling, production, and distribution of your thyroid hormones. It will take your reproductive hormones and it absolutely wreak havoc. So this is where you get the suppression of lutein, the luteinizing hormone, and that's responsible for high sperm counts and making sure that things run well with men, and prostate health, and a lot. And in women, it's fertility as well. And it also really, really, really compresses the follicle stimulating hormone. And so people will have ovarian cysts. But high cortisol causes polycystic ovarian syndrome. So often people will have something going on reproductively and their thyroid is out. It's a big tie. There's a tie there. It will take muscle and destroy muscle if you have really high cortisol, and it will ruin your bones. It will cause osteoporosis. It will take all of the calcium out of the bone and put it in the bloodstream, and then it will form plaque. And so we have heart disease going on that way. It'll make your hair fall out. It will make a lot of things. It will really undo your health that way. And so one of the things that I like to do for people is just to understand you need light first thing in the morning, 15 to 30 minutes. Part of that is you're going to look at the brighter part of the sky for 10 to 15 seconds. You need that to stimulate your circadian rhythm and set it really well. If you have high cortisol, you want to see sunset. Take in sunset for a little while. And I would say that high cortisol, if you have sunset, it's telling you to sleep. Those rays of the sunset will actually tell your body you're going to sleep in 3 to 5 hours from now. So doing morning and night, the sunrise, the sunset, the sunrise, the sunset. And then I think the other thing to do is just know that you need adaptogens. So you need to, I would say, really come and see me for one thing. Some adaptogens can throw people off, but one that's pretty, I think everyone knows about omega-3. You have to be careful with omega-3 fish oil because there's something called IFOS, and that's International Fish Oil Standards, and are people testing their fish oil. If it goes rancid, it's as dangerous as seed oil. So I like flaxseed oil, but there are certain brands of omega-3 fish oil that I do like as well. So that's huge. And so is magnesium glycinate, magnesium threonate, magnesium citrate. Magnesium will give you diarrhea if you take too much. That's one way you know you've probably got too much. But there's other ways to absorb it. Epsom salts in a bathtub, pouring in the kind that don't have the synthetic fragrance. So types at Natural Grocers or Sprouts or Vitality Nutrition, other places where you can get just the magnesium flakes. And being in that bath is amazing because you absorb a lot of magnesium through your skin. It's the biggest way. So getting a good magnesium oil is also really important. Other adaptogens that are pretty useful are things like rhodiola. and lemon balm. There's a couple of things that you would want to come and see me before you do that, because there's certain medications and other conditions that would make that difficult. But finding a good adaptogen is actually amazing. Finding GABA. This is one thing I would absolutely write down. You want pharma-GABA. Pharma-GABA is a form of GABA, which is an amino acid that's crucial for cortisol to be regulated. So if we think about how cortisol is stimulated and regulated, there's many of you that have heard of the HPA axis. When the HPA axis, which is stimulating cortisol production, just becomes too overactive, it's going to cause all of this inflammation. It's going to really destroy the immune system as well. And so having a good adaptogen, having a good mineral, and having these good amino acids is extremely useful. I think that one of the other things is just that if we have minerals in general, having trace minerals is also crucial. The pharma-GABA, trace minerals, omega-3, I think that all of these things are pretty much everyone can take those things, and I think that it really helps to have that. But if we go into even other greater, newer science, we have things like curcumin. Curcumin is literally everywhere where you see healing happening. It's there for inflammation, number one, for pain. If you have cortisol overstimulation and it's way too high in your body, this is where we get fibromyalgia, the aches and the pains, just feeling off this way. This is where curcumin is incredible at helping people. So there's something called Curamed. It's a product by Terry Naturally. Curamed, if you're having pain, there are pain relievers, and very useful, but it's actually going to that HPA axis and saying to your body, calm down, calm down. So I tell literally basically everyone, you need curcumin. It's very hard to absorb, so you want it in an absorbable form, and that's where Terry Naturally comes in. It's very absorbable, and so getting it into your body, most people will absolutely feel a difference here. And I'm just going to keep going because this is my passion and I love it so much. Hopefully you guys are okay. I apologize that I don't have slides. However,
hey, Suzanne, I just wanted to tell you I'm really loving the information that you're sharing. So just keep going. You're doing such a good job.
Okay.
We can feel your passion and stuff. I don't know exactly why
I don't either, but I'll just, I'm
not going to worry about it. We can even send them a link later if you'd like.
That would be great. Let's do that. Okay, so let's talk about some other things here. If you have, well, there's a few things we could go into. Let's talk about gratitude first. Gratitude is huge. Gratitude is amazing. Now, people go, well, I feel grateful and nothing changes. This is like practicing the piano. You have to take time, and what you need to do is specifically feel it in your heart. And, I wake up and I say, I'm not in Ukraine today. I'm so grateful. I'm not in the hospital finding out that I have paralysis from a car accident today. How blessed am I that I can walk? How blessed am I that I can walk around, that I can work, that I can use my brain? I use these things and I take time to feel, because what happens is when we feel that gratitude, it sends a chemical message up our vagus nerve. And that message tells the brain what to do. So we have the heart telling the brain what to do. And the brain gets the message. And it will calm our breathing. And it will calm a lot. It will calm our blood pressure, and it will tell the body to just relax. Now, one of the other things that's amazing about gratitude is it actually increases what's called natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are cells that kill cancer, kill infection, and by stimulating those, we actually really give ourselves a lot of health, because natural killer cells, I would actually invite people to look that up and see more about what those are. Those are extremely amazing as well. And while we're talking about the heart, we've got to go to the lungs and breathing. Breathing is attached to emotion. If you're pushed underwater, you feel emotion, and it goes, you become really panicked. So you can do the basic breathing, which is box breathing. So this is 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. Repeat that for a couple of minutes, and there is absolutely that physiological change. Now, the HPA axis that I just referred to, there's a lot going on there. The HPA axis is driving a lot. So in order to hijack getting that to calm down, using breathing is huge. Breathing and gratitude together are huge. And I would say that I've had incredible experiences in the morning. By the way, sunlight also increases natural killer cells. And so breathing with gratitude in a meditation, in sunlight, you can also add grounding. Grounding is amazing. We have all of this electrical energy that just gets built up. We open up a bill and look at it. And it's our eyes that actually give a lot of information to the brain, like, oh my goodness. So really being vigilant, what am I looking at? If I'm watching violent movies, my nervous system has no idea they're not real, that they're not happening to me. The music that we listen to, this is where classical music, look up classical music that balances and takes down cortisol. The frequencies, we have 528, 432, 417. All of these are amazing. And really bathing yourself in these frequencies. Now, when we go outside in the morning, grounding is huge. So putting your feet on the ground if there's no snow, right? If there's no snow. But being outside and letting that extra energy from all of the things that have caused you to be upset, that needs to come out. Get grounding sheets if you can't walk on the grass or the dirt. I love grounding sheets by Earthing. They're a big deal. Nature, trees, just looking at the pattern of a leaf, the fractal patterns on a leaf will slow down that HPA axis production of cortisol. Looking at a leaf, touching a tree, and being there in the moment, present, just in the moment, present, can bring us to this moment so that we're not in the future, we're not in the past, we're just here right now as we are. Now, with everything I've studied, I truly believe we are a body of water wrapped in skin, animated by light. So our cells communicate using light. Our DNA is a hub of light. We have light directing our breath. Oxygen is derived from light. Many people don't know that. Being outside in light with nature. What happens is if you're near a tree and you've got light coming down, that tree will amplify the light benefits that you get. So standing next to a tree and taking in light is also another great thing. But even just during the day, it's not sunrise, not sunset. That's just fine. Walk around outside and hug a tree. Become a tree hugger. And I tell people, become a tree hugger. There's energy in trees. They let out a chemical called phytoncides, and that chemical goes into our bodies by breathing it in. It's like an aerosol essential oil that we can breathe in and have our nervous system calmed, and we can be okay. We can feel better. Grounding, nature. We got to get into even humming. When we stimulate the vagus nerve by humming or chanting, it's huge. But I'm going to add dancing. I dance around in my house all the time. My poor kids are like, oh, close the windows. But you know what? It's okay. Dancing is actually doing a lot for our nervous system. Here's where this is something really important, and that is following your dreams. When you put your right hand over your heart and you think, what is it that I really love to do? What is it that brings me joy when I think about, oh, I'd love to do that? Then taking baby steps to make it happen, just baby steps, but knowing in the future, I'm going to have something that creates hope and a belief that changes the matrix and the energy around us. And it absolutely calms our nervous system. So playing the piano, painting. If you don't know how to draw, it's fine. Just start. Get crayons, get paper, get a pencil, get paints. It's not what it looks like. It's just you participating in art. Participating in art is huge. There's a book by Tara Swart. She is a neuroscientist at MIT. She's taught all over the world. I would suggest getting her book. It's called The Signs. This goes into greater detail of how art really helps us calm our nervous system and basically reintroduces us to the world around us. I'm just going to quickly put a plug in again for light. Light behaves differently when it's observed. That's a scientific fact. If you observe light, then it behaves differently. It's like, what does that mean? The earth looks different. This is something that's happened to me where I've just, by going out and practicing being in tune with the earth, I feel like, wow, being in a state of gratitude. Look at the mountains, look at the trees, look at the sun. It's amazing. The earth comes alive. We're energy, living in an energetical world. And it wants us to notice it. And when it does, and when we do, it reveals its secrets to us. And it's incredible, the experiences I've had doing that. I will say that there are many, many times when I've had deep, deep sorrow, where I lost my dad last year, and I'd go outside so distressed. It's just like, I just want to feel better. And being out there with light and looking and observing, I've had just incredible things. Rainbows appear, and all kinds of little critters, beautiful birds, beautiful robins, eagles. I've seen eagles. So there's something to noticing light, and I'm going to go a step further, noticing beauty. We have all these problems. It's like, oh my word, my world's going to hell in a handbasket. Guess what? If you take 2 seconds to notice something beautiful in an animal, in a little child, in nature, it's incredible. And a step further is in yourself. Look how amazing I am. we focus on our mistakes. I'm doing this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. But we have to say, wow, look at me. Look at what I've done. Look at what I tried to do today. I made this effort. And we acknowledge it, and it calms our nervous system. It takes down that cortisol when we need it to be calm. And it's amazing. Just the journey. If you haven't done this, take a picture of yourself as a baby or a little child. Talk to it. Say, I love you every day. And honestly, this is so healing. And this also takes down cortisol. I have, through rediscovering, I absolutely detested myself. I'd lived in domestic violence, and I'd gone through some really hard things and been made to feel so low. And so going outside in the morning, and I really talk to God and say, please help me like myself today. And this is a practice that absolutely, we know scientifically benefits us. Even if we start slow, we look at our mistakes and all of that, and how will this and that work out. Trying to just like ourselves and say, look at what you did. And then the other part I would say is, I thank God every day for the things that are going to happen to me. The good things that are going to be shown to me today. Where I say, thank you so much for the things you're going to do for me today, because I know you'll do them. And guess what happens? Incredible things happen. Incredible things happen when we look at life that way. We're supposed to feel joy. We're supposed to share our light with other people. So let's cover this so far. Having the things that we need physically. Because I don't have my slides, I'm going to jump back to one other thing. If people are saying, what should I take? What should I do? Let's go over vitamins, because I did skip that because I don't have the slides. Vitamin B, huge. Vitamin B is huge, absolutely huge. We have B6, B9, B12, we have B2, all of these, B5, they're crucial for us when it comes to cortisol. And so having a really good brand of vitamin B, I love Natural Factors vitamin B. It's very bioavailable. You need to take it with food, but it really does help. Vitamin C, we think of that for immunity, but guess what? Vitamin C, like curcumin, is everywhere that healing is. You look at cancer and all these different things, take vitamin C for your nerves. Vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. If you take those vitamins, you are absolutely increasing your health. You can actually help to reduce the plaque in your arteries by taking D3, K2 with magnesium glycinate and boron. So those 4 things will actually help there, but there's a lot of great things that they do for cortisol specifically. And so those are the things that, as far as vitamin wise, if you've got the right vitamins, the right minerals, the right adaptogens, the right amino acids, it's a great baseline. But I'm here to tell you something else. Let's talk about smell. The nerves that are involved in smell are directly involved with cortisol. And health in general, brain health, other things. If you take time to smell your favorite essential oils, the ones that completely ground you, you're going to lower your cortisol. So smelling every day. I smell things in the morning. I've got this amazing natural lemon verbena candle that has no synthetic fragrance or anything bad in it, and I smell it. Smell is really amazing, and it can do a lot for us. But I'm thinking, Tammy, do you have any specific questions for me as far as things that you might want to know?
I'm glad that you asked that. I actually feel like it would be really important for us to ask the people who are watching right now in
I
real
would love that. I would love that. Absolutely.
So we did just have 20 people, and it looks like we have 18 right now. I mean, people have been getting on, and they'll be able to watch this on the replay as well. So if you're watching right now, there's a question that you have, please feel free to let us know, because Suzanne does have a lot of experience with working with people here. Also, if people wanted to talk to you one-on-one about a specific issue, they can just get a hold of you right on your website, right?
Yes.
SuzanneBates.com.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, and then what was the Facebook thing that you were talking about? We should find the link for that, and I can share that with people as well.
So that is Get Up, Get Out, Get Happy.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and post any specific questions, or if you're looking for help to support a specific thing, I think that would be great. A lot of what I'd sent out in the email was about helping people to overcome chronic stress and cortisol issues. So yeah, if there's anything specific with that, we'll let you go ahead and continue there.
Okay, so when we have the chronic stress and we feel like it's wearing us down, I would say that one thing that's very important is to remember that that whatever is going on will pass. It will get less painful. It can get less painful. There's some terribly painful things that go on in life, but there are, like I was saying before, things that energetically shift when we look for the good. People say, well, that won't fix my problem. You know what? If you take time to look for the beautiful things, it's a very, 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 very big deal. And things, with chronic stress, I like people to say, many of the people I see, I'll say, okay, put a number on each day for your energy level. 10 being I have so much energy, 2 being I have just a little bit. And then I have, after time goes by, we're able to really see kind of what's going on. One of the things I didn't mention, Tammy, is I have figured out ways to track your cortisol. And part of it's using cortisol testing that I have, and part of it is actually measuring the glucose. So our glucose and our cortisol are tied to each other indirectly. So having just a simple, inexpensive glucose monitor is something where you can actually track a pattern. And I can teach you how to do that. I love teaching people how to be their own doctors. It's the best, because then you don't need one. Tracking, we can say, okay, that gives you more information. Does this adaptogen work for me? Or doesn't it? Okay, and it will show how effective the cortisol, let's just say this, it will show how effective the things you're doing to manage cortisol have been. My cortisol coaching is a huge thing. It's very, very big. And I love just to help people. We're going to be putting together more meetings and support groups for people. But I have actually a package right now where it's normally $1,500, and it's just going to tell people who are watching that I'm doing it for $750. It's 6 weeks where I will coach you, and we will get your cortisol balanced. There are a lot of ways to do it, and a lot of products, and I'm specialized in helping people to do that. Tammy, do you have any specific questions yourself about cortisol?
Yeah, actually, a question just came in, so let me go ahead and read this one. It's from Kevin and Lori Anderson. It says, what are things you can do to receive the benefits on cortisol levels from being outside, like the sun and the trees and the grounding, but during the winter months when it's harder to get outside.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you still go outside. You go outside. Maybe you don't walk around in the snow, but you absolutely go outside because it's too tied to your cortisol rhythm. So this is where you bundle up and you go outside in the morning, and you go outside even if it's snowing, because you can be under a covered patio and still the infrared is going to come in, and it's going to help a lot for just managing your stress.
It's so interesting hearing you talk about this, because my husband says, just get outside every winter. And I'm like, I'm sad. And he's like, just go outside. And I'm like, it's too cold.
I know, it's so
go outside. And he's like, just go outside. It'll feel so much better. And I'm like, but I don't want to because it's cold.
Exactly.
And so we actually did get a hot tub, and I felt like that really did make a difference for me, because it allowed me to get in the hot water and still feel comfortable, like in a temperature setting, but then be able to get that sunlight on my face, you know what I mean, in the fresh air too. I think that also helped. But he does the cold contrast. So he gets in the cold plunge. In fact, he did it this morning at 5 a.m. and it was only 30 degrees. He said that was probably the coldest cold bath he's ever gotten in himself.
Brave warrior.
He stayed out there for 3 minutes, and he said that his hands stopped working because there was no circulation. He could barely get out. I'm like, okay, that's kind of probably dangerous, maybe.
You know what? He's gung ho. That's admirable.
He's definitely, but what about for people who maybe don't have a hot tub, or they can't? How do they go outside? You know what I mean?
I would say, okay, there is one other thing, and I tell people to do it if you really don't have anything else to do, and that is a light lamp, where you buy on the internet a 10,000 lux light lamp that you sit in front of for 20 minutes in the morning. Because the flip side, we do need to talk about the flip side of cortisol boost in the morning, having that light, is be careful with the artificial lighting overhead after about 6 p.m. Everything that made your cortisol rise and give you energy in the morning is going to do the same thing at night. That's why you don't want to exercise at night. You don't want to be hydrating, to the moon and back at night. You don't want to be eating black licorice or grapefruit at night. All of the things that I listed before, you don't want to be doing. But those light lamps absolutely help. They really do help a lot. And that's one thing I would say for people. Get in front of it.
And there are days where it's a little bit sunnier, and you might be able to go out for a little walk, prepared for that and stuff like that. My sister, she goes hiking in the winter time, and my daughter, she takes her kids out, in the winter time. And it's just, I think, trying to see if you can do that when it's available, and I love how you're talking about supplementing with a light lamp, and I have a light therapy set myself as well. So this is just some ideas. I like how you're making it so that people have practical tips that they can use right along with their lifestyle. Now, I've got a few people here who are saying that they would like to work with you on doing a cortisol reduction. Is that what you're talking about? Like specifically on working with people, customizing their situations?
Completely. That's what I do, is we customize, we look at your lifestyle, what is stressing, what isn't. And I coach people, and they can text me during the week if something's really hard. We go through it, and I can't tell you the number of people that this has been a game changer for, because I've been there. I think it almost completely took my life. And so it's my passion is definitely working with people. I have my email is hello@SuzanneBates.com. So that is another great way to reach me. The great thing about this too is because fat will cortisol will cause fat production. This is another way I really am good at helping people lose weight with this coaching as well.
Okay, and I've got another question coming in. Hi, Catherine. How are you? She says, do you do blood work to check levels of cortisol?
So I don't do that. I actually we prick the blood for glucose, and I take samples. I do, well, most often we just do saliva samples. So occasionally I'll send people for blood work, but I've found that that's not that effective, really. It's kind of a tiny little, it's not the be all end all. I mean, there are times where I'll send people for blood work, but it's not necessary most of the time. So that is my answer to that. We can actually measure cortisol in the saliva, but if we're doing it with glucose, this is where it just becomes incredibly beneficial, because we can see the tie between, okay, what's really going on here. What we care about is the HPA axis function. We care about knowing how well is the, basically how dysfunctional has our stress system become. And so blood, while useful, is not as useful as saliva and pricking your finger or getting a continuous glucose monitor, which is another thing that I coach people on as well.
Wow, that's great. That's really cool. I didn't even know, what's that thing that called? What is that? HPA axis? What is that?
HPA axis. It's our hypothalamus, our pituitary gland, and our adrenal glands. And the problem is when we are so overloaded, when we're so stressed, we have the hypothalamus sends a message to the pituitary gland that sends a message to our adrenal glands to release cortisol. So that's after every stressful event. So if our stress level is always high, you can see I burned myself with soup the other day, my little scars. If cortisol is always high and that HPA axis is going all the time, it's really easy for our hormones to easily become just out of whack. So that's another thing I really help people with is hormones. We work a lot with hormones and doing it the natural way. I accidentally brought myself out of menopause using sunlight and some of the methods that I have, and I laugh, but I feel like I'm just getting younger looking using some of the stuff that I'm doing. And a lot of that is just managing hormones, and those are thrown off when that HPA axis is too overloaded with too much stress. And so we can put a suspension system on that HPA axis. We can put a suspension, it's like our so that when a stressful event happens, like my slides don't work, I'm not just going to freak out, but I can say, okay, I can just adapt and deal with things calmly. And that's the goal, right?
Yeah, no, that's great. I went ahead and put the link up on your website to suzannebates.com/consultation. And when people book a consultation with you, what does that look like? Are you able to help people over Zoom or a phone call, or do they have to be in person? Tell us about that.
So I do all three. I do a lot of virtual, and I also have people that come in, but I also have people that just call. So I do all three, and then people can, we come in and just see the baseline. Where are you? And what's causing the most stress? And we actually document things so that we get to the root of how to help you get better from this and really find balance and homeostasis. And so it's a 50-minute consultation, and we just go through, what are you taking, medicine-wise, supplement-wise, and so that we make sure that anything I recommend is not going to interact. I'm one of the people that knows, because I've got a history as an ICU nurse, and I actually taught ICU nursing at Weber State University as well. So I'm very familiar with medications and with disease processes as well.
Wow, that's great. Well, there's a lot of people that are on. Do you guys have any other questions? Like, we got about 4 or 5 minutes left. We'd love to be able to help support you. I personally made a list for the things that stood out to me with what you were saying. When you and I had talked, you'd shared how going out for 15 to 30 minutes when the sun is very first coming up, how much that can really help a person. And you did it 100 days and it changed everything for you. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. Ashley Christensen Olson, she says, is that true that when you cry, you release cortisol through your tears?
True. Very true. Cry like a baby all the time. You know what? Cortisol's in our tears. There's a whole system, and it knows what it's doing. And so tears are full of cortisol. They are packed with cortisol and actually toxins as well. So very true. My 100-day challenge, do you want me to talk about that?
Yeah, will you go ahead and share a little bit about that? I love it. And then I'll have everybody share what was their biggest takeaway from this presentation. So be thinking about what your favorite is, or maybe it's about what she's about to say too.
Okay, so I was a night owl my whole life, my entire life. You know, like I'd have babies and I'd be tired and all of that, but I'd stay up and stay up and stay up and stay up. And that was up until 2 years ago. So 2 years ago in my garden, I was out there and I thought, wow, I feel so good out here. That's the thing about sunlight and being outside. It's like I just feel a little bit better. I'm not sure why. And I really lamented that the sun was leaving, and I said, I'm going to do. I wonder if I should come out in the morning. I wonder, if that would be good. So I went in and I typed, are there any benefits for sunlight? Any health benefits for going outside in the morning at sunrise? And it was incredible. My screen just had a million things to say about it. I was like, this is incredible. I need to go out for 100 days. So I made up a contract. I typed it up because I knew I would hate getting up in the morning. And sure enough, the next morning I got up and I was just spitting fire as I went. I was actually crawling down the hall. I was so mad. It was an October day and it was so cold. And but when I went out there, I had an almost immediate change in the way that I just noticed the world. It was still and it was beautiful. And when that light touched my face, I felt different. And that's where I began to understand there is a literal physical transfer of energy. When you go out in the morning, morning sunlight will give you energy. It will absolutely do that. And I just started to feel better, couldn't put my finger on it, and ended up going out for 100 days. And in that 100 days, that's when my menopause, I brought myself out of menopause. My diabetes went away. Now, I'd been working on diabetes for a while. Type 2 diabetic. I had tried the medications. I had decided I'm going to go the natural way. So I tried some supplements. I'd gotten it down to like 140, my glucose, but I couldn't get it to budge. And then it was with some blood work, I found out that not only were my blood sugars low, I was below pre-diabetic. I had an A1C of 5.1, which is very good. And so it was, the only thing different was light. The only thing different was light. Like I said, my kidneys, they had improved a little bit, but they weren't that great. Going outside for 100 days, my kidney function absolutely improved. And so I thought, what is going on? My thyroid numbers were amazing. It was just like, what in the world? And it was light. That was it. It was simple light. And so it completely changed my life.
I love hearing that story. When I heard that story, I told my husband, I said, well, I hate to admit it, but I guess you were right. And he said, well, like he's a humble dude, but he was just like, he's not going to say, I told you so or whatever. But
right. It's like, yeah, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, the fact is, he has been telling me all along. He's like, I think the reason why I don't struggle like you do every winter is because he's a UPS driver. So he's outside all day, every day through the winter. That's just part of his daily routine, so he just automatically gets it. But anyway, I appreciate you sharing that because I feel like it's a vulnerable personal experience that you had, but it is helpful for many of us who resist doing this. Oh, and another friend, Bonnie Williams down in St. George, she wakes up with the sunrise and meditates year round. It doesn't matter what time of the weather, what it's like or anything. She does it. So every time I wake up at the sunrise, I just think about her. I sometimes will text, Bonnie, I love you. I'm out watching the sunrise and I'm thinking about you, So I think it's a valuable thing. I'm curious, for those of you who've been watching and tuning in, what was something that she shared that really stood out to you? And go ahead and comment, in the chat here and let us know what stood out to you. For me, the sunlight was a big deal. Some other things, I've been learning about breath work for the last January of 2024. It's given me back my life. I honestly did experience, debilitating anxiety before that, and it's helped me a lot. Now, a couple other things have helped me too, but it's been one of the top 3. It's been very instrumental. The grounding, the breath work, the humming. I love the humming. That's so beautiful. I feel like you've given us some practical tools that people can use right away. And if they work with you, then you'll help them to be able to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And I love that you went from a nurse to the, herbalism and the iridology and doing things from a more natural perspective. I absolutely love that. Ashley says, thank you. I've had a stressful day and I've been outside barefoot, resting on a tree, sipping hot tea. I feel so much better. Thank you so much. I'm committed to doing 100 days at least every morning. Good job, Ashley. That's really inspiring.
That's awesome.
I love that. Catherine shares that her big takeaway is the box breathing, 4 count, right? It's the 4 by 4. So awesome. Yes. Bonnie shares, she says, I've been working on my lymphatic system lately, and I feel it's also helping a lot besides the things that you mentioned. So thank you guys so much for sharing those things that stood out to you. That will be very helpful also when people watch this on the replay as well. If you guys are interested in getting her slides, I'm going to see if I can get a link. And then we can share it down in the comments here. Or, if you would like to, you could even just post them right on your website, Suzanne. Yeah. And that way people can go right to your website and find the slides as well. So that'd be great as well.
That's great. That's great.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And especially thank you to you, Suzanne, especially for your just willingness to continue and do the presentation, even though the slides didn't work. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. So
sometimes it doesn't. That's right.
That's okay. All right. Well, thank you again. We'll see you next time, everyone. Take care. Have a good day.